Good day to you all. Welcome to Maths Global Learning Hub at Mr. T. In today's lesson, we are going to draw the graph of f of x is equal to sin x. We begin by completing the table of values, and we are going to use the method of substitution. For the first one, I'm going to get 0. If I substitute the next one, I'm going to get 1. If I substitute 180, I'm going to get 0. 270 degrees is going to give me -1, and 360 is going to give me 0. After this, I now need to draw my graph. Let's put it on the Cartesian plane. Now we need to join these points, but when we join these points, we need to do that using freehand. And after drawing my graph, I'm going to notice that this point here is giving me the maximum, and then this point here is giving me the minimum. I can also establish from my graph that the period is 360 degrees. In other words, this graph is completing a full cycle after 360 degrees. I can also see that the range of the graph is from -1 up to +1. And I'm going to write this using the interval notation. I can also calculate the amplitude. I'm going to squeeze it here, amplitude. And I'm going to use the formula y maximum minus y minimum divided by 2. And I substitute my values. I'm going to get that the amplitude is equal to 1. Now let's move on to the next set of questions. The first one says, for which values of x is f of x greater than 0? So where is that section there where f of x is greater than 0? I can write here x. Element of my starting point is 0 up to 180 degrees. That is where the graph is above the x-axis. I can write this in inequality notation as then the second part of the question wants us to establish where the graph is less or equal to 0. It's starting from 180 degrees up to 360 degrees. And I can write this using the inequality notation as well. Then, number 3, it says where f of x is increasing. I go to the graph, and I'm noticing that I've got 2 sections here where the graph is increasing. Let's mark them first. From 0 up to 90 degrees, and then from 270 degrees up to 360 degrees. I can go and write my answers. The first one, we said from 0 to 90 degrees. And then the second one, we said from 270 degrees to 360 degrees. And we can write these answers as inequality notation. Then the last part of the graph is where we want to see where it is decreasing. So let's go to the graph and check here. Where is the graph decreasing? You can see that the graph is decreasing from 90 to 270. I can write my answer in two ways. X is an element from 90 degrees to 270 degrees using the interval notation. And if I use the inequality notation, I'm going to write